Hi, this video is all about the quantum field entrainment, or the meditative aspect to movement feedback holography. I am Brent Phillips. I am the founder and creator of the Awakening Dynamic System of Energy Healing and Higher Consciousness. And we're here today with video number 8 of 9 in our series on movement feedback holography. And if you've been watching the series, or maybe you've heard me on the radio or saw me on TV or a podcast, you've heard me talk about how there is a meditative piece to this movement. And it was the hardest one for me to understand. It actually took me over 10 years. And I didn't fully get it until after Carl had passed away. But I did. And now I got it. I think we got the whole puzzle. And so if you've been following the series, we've talked about how using movement, like the handshaking, rollerblading, etc., with an expert facilitator to get feedback creates a deep cleaning in the subconscious. We drop dozens, hundreds of powerful myths and stories and get more present. That makes us far more powerful. And the most obvious thing that happens is you'll make more money. But this is not about the money. This is about presence, consciousness, spirituality. The money is simply a nice side effect that occurs when you get present. And so when it comes down to it, there's really 3 pieces to the movement feedback holography when we do it with feedback that cause it to work, that give us results. The first piece is simply getting the expert feedback from a trained facilitator. You may remember when I had my first session with Carl, I rollerbladed in a circle, he videotaped me, and then ripped me a new one criticizing me. But I started to make way more money. Oh my God, what's going on, right? So the feedback is part of it. It's part of the magic. The second part that's part of the magic is the exaggerate the opposite. Now, we're not going to talk a lot about that here because that's getting more into the technical details of giving feedback. But what happens is when we learn to exaggerate the opposite, it lowers our resistance. It allows us to make big breakthroughs. So that's the second part that really fuels it, gives us the magic and all the great results. The third piece is the meditation. It's the quantum field entrainment. And when you add the third piece in, this is when things get really interesting. You can do movement just with the others and you'll get results, but you're only going to get 10, 20%. You need all 3 pieces to get the good results, the life changers, the triple, quadruple of your income. That's what it takes. So again, feedback from an expert facilitator, exaggerating the opposite, and connecting into the quantum field, the meditative part. And that's exactly what I'm going to talk about here today. I'm going to lay it all out for you so you can start to understand this. And you should feel good about that. There's not a lot of people in the world that understand metaphysics and spirituality at the level you're learning. This is really amazing that you're here and getting it. So I'm going to explain all that. But first, please take a moment, hit like, hit subscribe, and go share this with your friends. YouTube needs to know if you like these, because if you don't, I'm not going to keep doing them. If you do, they'll send more people and I will create lots more videos like this for 10, 20 years. Awesome. And let me ask everyone, here's a question for you. Have you ever seen energy or auras or past lives with your open eyes? Now, maybe it was one of my events when I did the consciousness shifting with you, but I'd love to hear. Are you a natural talent? Or maybe some other teacher turned that on for you? Would love to hear your story. Awesome. So put in the comments. Cool. So let's talk about this. What exactly is going on when we do this meditative piece? So what's going to happen is in a movement session, let's say you did a movement session with me, and you may be there rollerblading, shaking your hands, scooping, walking a tightrope, whatever the movement is, and I'm there giving you feedback. I see this, I see this. You're throwing it away. You're throwing it over your shoulders. You're not taking it in. You're afraid of us. You're trying to please us. All these different myths and stories. That feedback will help. But there's still another piece, which is the connection to the quantum field. And this is kind of invisible and silent, but every time I'm working doing movement, I'm also tuning you into the quantum field. I'm reconnecting you simply with the power of the mind to this flow of life. And here's what's going to happen. For many people, they start to see auras and even past lives with their open eyes. People's faces will change. You'll see the light around the head. Sometimes you go so deep, the whole world starts to fade out to black or white. You may start to see the wire frame that sits underneath our physical reality. You'll start to see through it as the illusion it is. And oh yeah, did I mention It will reduce, maybe dissolve any pain you have, and make everything feel more okay. This is really powerful stuff. In fact, my late mentor, Carl, he could use this meditative technique with women in labor at the hospital and take away all their pain without drugs. That's how powerful this is. And so whenever I'm doing movement, I'm working this meditative piece too, slowly reconnecting you into the quantum field. And you'll actually hear me use 3 different terms for it. They all mean the same thing. I use them interchangeably. Sometimes we call it consciousness shifting, because it is literally a process of shifting your consciousness. Sometimes we call it quantum field entrainment, because we're reconnecting you into the quantum field, the divine flow. And it's sometimes called beaming. I'm not going to get into that whole story here, but just so you know, my whole next video series on YouTube will be on this, on the meditative piece, on the consciousness shifting. So we got a lot more coming. But for now, just know that the meditative piece, in training you into a theta state, synchronizing your brain waves, balancing your hormones, getting you connected to this divine intelligence, is a huge part of the movement. And I would hate for you to run off and spend a bunch of time and money and only get small or no results because you were missing this. And so just know, being able to reconnect people as they're moving is a big part of it. And you will learn it with time. I'm not going to go into all the detail of how to learn it here, only because, again, we got a whole series coming on this. I'll talk about it in great detail. But just so you know, you need all 3. You need to be able to do the right movement, give the right feedback, exaggerate the opposite where it's appropriate, and also tune into the quantum field. Because some of the big breakthroughs are done with the mind and the meditative aspect, not just the physical movement and the talking. And I know it sounds a little crazy, but again, that's why it's so powerful. I've never found work that's so powerful, so transformative. I know my late mentor said the same thing. Just like me, he'd been to dozens, maybe hundreds of self-improvement programs, learning Reiki and pranic healing and law of attraction and healing codes or whatever your thing is. There's nothing even close to movement, but it's weird. It's different. It does have a steep learning curve. But once you get rolling with it, your life will change like it never has before, and you're never going to want to go back. So if you want to learn more, to experience it for yourself, just check out the description. We got some awesome links. I got free live webinars. I got lots of downloadable material, low-priced events. I would love for you to experience this for yourself and see how amazing it is. That's all I got to say for right now. This is it for video number 8. We got one more in this series, number 9 and 9. And until then, please take care and namaste.